Howdy, y'all, and welcome to the EEARSS Podcast, produced by Terrier TV. I am Alligator Rob. I'm that guy. Cindy, how are you? Bill, how are you guys doing?
I'm great.
I'm not even sure. I'm not sure what threw you off. I never know where to go sometimes after Alligator Rob. I'm like, because I mean, yeah, I reckon that's right.
The problem is you always start with, how are you? That's a loaded question. I'm just coming from work. Don't ask me such a thing.
This is true. Well, was your weekend wonderful?
Yes.
Okay, well there you go.
I had to think about that for a minute.
We'll go to weekend. Anything exciting
what
happen
on the week? Nothing, which is what made it wonderful.
Really?
There you go.
You prefer quiet weekends? You don't like doing things on the weekends?
My entire life is one series of crisis after crisis. I love when I can say I did nothing.
Well, yeah, relaxing is doing
Nothing
a
at all.
thing. It is, but it is a thing.
It is. It is actively doing a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what that feels like.
Uh-huh.
I do sometimes forget what that feels like.
Well, and you should experience it. You need to do that every once in a while.
When I go to sleep at night, for the most part, I do.
There you go. That's a little different. We'll have a talk about that sometime. Right now, I want to complain about the weather.
Really?
Yeah, I really do. Why is it so stinking hot? I mean, they killed us. They killed
Florida.
us. We had no. Don't you remember in October we had that beautiful week where it was in the 50s and it was gorgeous?
You do realize that.
I know.
So I keep
and it
track,
set a record. And
I keep track of the weather every year.
Right.
And it's always plus or minus a week of Halloween, which it was a little bit early this year.
Yeah,
but it's always plus or minus 7 days of Halloween. It was our first cold front. It hit about 6 days early this year.
Right.
But it's always there at the same time.
Right.
So it just spoiled you early.
And
is all
usually the first weekend in November is the first really cold snap.
Well, I mean, it was snowing in Chicago during Christmas.
Yeah,
during,
well,
during
we're not in
Christmas.
Chicago.
Exactly. Thank you.
We don't care.
Wow.
So what I'm hoping for is the last time. See, I struck a nerve. What I'm hoping for is the last time that I talked about weather was when I said we needed some rain.
Don't wish rain on us
and
right
then,
now.
No, I didn't.
I
say
need a few more
but
weeks
you said
of quiet
no, and then
rain.
we got all that rain. We got a ton of rain.
Yeah,
now
I remember. My
I'm
truck was
hoping
floating.
It cools off a little bit, and so
It's going to be 20 degrees
so
next week now.
yeah, we'll have an Arctic front come in and we'll
have
be
2 feet of snow.
inundated.
2 feet of snow in Titusville.
So yep, that's what I'm hoping for.
I'm
using my power wisely.
You're not asking for too much, I don't think. I mean,
No.
20 degrees might be a bit of a reach, but
Yeah, no.
I say
she
Cindy
said
put the
20.
number on
She
it.
said
Okay.
20. I just said I want it cooler. That's all.
it
I just
seems
want to be
fair.
able to wear a hoodie,
Do you wear
sweatshirt.
hoodies?
Yeah, when I do like football games and stuff.
I
yeah.
think about now. I'm
Yeah.
thinking about you in the Bill Belichick mode. with
That's
the,
right.
You know, the
Very much Bill Belichick. Very
Really?
much. Oh yeah.
hoodie the same way.
Yep, same way.
Okay. I don't think I've ever seen Bill Curtis in a hoodie.
Oh well, it's a sight to behold.
I'm not sure what to do with that. Oh my goodness
Well,
gracious.
yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. Now that I'm thinking about you two standing side by side, I could kind of see that. I could see you guys being buddy, having coffee together.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, you guys.
Speaking of which, did you ever see? He did a thing with Nick Saban. The two of them. It was on HBO. It's on HBO Sports.
Some sort of special?
And yeah, where they were talking back and forth, and I had no idea that their relationship went so far back.
It makes sense.
Because Nick Saban's one of his first jobs was working for Bill Belichick's dad at the University of Buffalo, I think.
See, I didn't know his dad was a coach.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. He comes from a coaching family, and so and Saban stayed at Belichick's house when he was there. So it's just interesting how the whole world, that kind of world.
The long tenured
relationships
coaches
go.
always have that tree. You know, I remember that for a long time it went through a lot of the coaches who are coaches now throughout the NFL all started as defensive coordinators or position coaches for the Buccaneers for a long time.
Right.
Yeah, they were all under Monty Kiffin, who coached forever.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
it makes sense that somebody like Belichick would have those kind of
and
connections too.
The whole coaching thing is all about relationships.
Yeah.
And so it's
So
you have relationships in the coaching, relationships with players,
As is life, I guess.
all that kind of thing. Yeah, I think coaching though more so because I mean you can't coach by yourself. It's not a solo thing. You're dealing with people and you're motivating people and you're
It's leadership.
trying to get very much so. And you're trying to get the best you can out of them. And that's a skill, and that's
most of the time the
interpersonal skill.
best coaches are the best leaders.
Oh yeah,
Not
absolutely.
always,
not
but
always,
for
not
the most
always,
part.
but yeah.
Okay. All right. Ready to jump into this?
Yep.
All right. So today on the podcast, we are joined by someone that we've been trying to reach out to for quite a while, and we have finally found her. I was actually going through a line a couple weeks ago, my first trip ever to Hummingbird Pantry, and happened to see our guest, Miss Gina of Hummingbird Pantry there, and I was like, I'm waving my business card and like waving at her, like, please come over, please come over. And she came over and we had a conversation, and we are so very happy to have you here. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about you and your background.
So my name is Gina Stanford. Jersey girl, born and raised in the Garden State. I loved it. My mom decided to retire here in Titusville, Florida, back in the 80s. And since I was the only child, when she became terminally ill, it was my obligation. I had to come. Now, I came kicking and screaming, but I came. And once I got to Titusville, I got into a lot of different things, owned several businesses, ran several organizations, and she did survive 8 years past the year that they gave her.
Wow.
So after the 9 years, Jersey was just not an option. I didn't want to go back into the snow. Going back home, even for a Thanksgiving visit, was extremely cold. So I'm not looking forward to it getting cold. I actually feel we're in Florida. It's supposed to be warm. So by then my blood had thinned out. I became a Floridian, by the way of Jersey, and I'm just loving it. So
there you go.
Here I am.
That's amazing. So you were telling me something the other day when we were talking that I had no idea of, that this organization you started, which is a 501c3.
Correct. Yes.
Has been going for 10 years.
10 years.
Tell us about that journey of how that started and how you guys even came up with the idea of having that.
So 10 years ago, it was the Monday after Thanksgiving. And I had a girlfriend that had convinced me to come and volunteer at a VPK program, which was in the former Riverview Elementary School building.
Okay.
So I was supposed to be volunteering 1-2 days a week. It ended up being almost like a full-time job. I was there. It was a lot to do. So we went out for Thanksgiving. So we're out that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We return that Monday. An announcement goes over the intercom. Everyone that's available, please come to the cafeteria. It was breakfast time. So when I got to the cafeteria, I'm seeing all these 3- and 4-year-old children who I can only describe it had transformed into animalistic behaviors they were exhibiting. And no matter how many trays of food we gave to them, they just couldn't get enough. And I was like, what's going on? And the person had said, the girlfriend, who was the director of the VPK program at the time, said, well, it was Thanksgiving week. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, well, everybody eats at Thanksgiving, all of that Thanksgiving food. And I'm thinking about all the leftovers that we threw out because we were too lazy or didn't want the leftovers and things like that. And it was really eye-opening because it was at that point that I realized that no one really knows your circumstance until they actually have the opportunity to witness it. They might not experience it at the same level that you do, but just witnessing these children that were starving because the last meal they got in some of those homes was Tuesday, because breakfast and lunch is provided through the school system. So I just said 5 words. That will never happen again. And when I got back to my little volunteer desk, by now I'm shaking, I'm crying. Now it's hitting me. I'm really overwhelmed. And I picked up the phone. I called my girlfriend, Barbara, and I'm describing what just happened. And she said, well, what are you going to do about it? So I'm like, okay, yeah, what am I going to do about it? I saw it, I can do something. So we got on the phone, we called a whole bunch of friends, family, and we just started saying, we need money. And by that Christmas, not even 30 days later, we were able to help 45 different families right there. And we started in that school. So we provided them with the full holiday meal, along with enough breakfast and lunch to last them for the 2 weeks of that break. So that's where we first started. We just did Christmas or winter break. We did Easter, and we did Thanksgiving. And we did that for about 2-3 years. And other people started coming to me, and they were like, why can't you open up more often, like monthly or weekly? And I kept saying, there's other pantries for that, you know? So they said, it's just not enough. So I took it upon myself to start visiting or volunteering at other food pantry sites and kind of saw where there was a need for a little bit more. So I didn't want to go against what any other pantry was doing because they are needed. They have a place in the community. I just wanted to fill in a gap that I saw was lacking. So eventually we got into our first building, and our numbers went from 200, just helping people at the holidays, up to 500. But our first building, the pantry was literally in a closet. So it was very taxing because we could not keep the food. We had no room to put the food. So eventually it just became so taxing, and we went from 500 to 1,000, very quickly. And I just said, you know what? It cannot be this hard to service the people. And a voice came, no matter how you believe it or, what your feelings are about voices or premonitions or anything like that. But the voice was so clear to me. It said, go back to where you started. So I was like, okay, well, the first place I saw people starving was at Riverview School. And then it was like, ding, ding, ding. They just closed that school. That school just didn't reopen. So I got on the phone with another dear friend, Misty Belford, and I was just like, hey, Misty, this is what I want to do. And so she had already let me know that the itinerary for the Board of Education schedule was already done, and I couldn't get in until January. So I got there in January, and I'm nervous and I'm scared, and I'm like, are they going to let me do it? Is this vision that I'm seeing actually going to come true? I was there. They handed me the keys. It was already done. It was already written. It was just everything had to align to that time. So I got the keys, and I just remember getting to the pantry, and it's 7,000 where we are now, which is on Jolly Street where you came. And I just got there, and it's 7,340 whatever square foot. And I'm like, this is it. We'll never have to move again. This is it. This is going to be fantastic. And I was just crying, just joyful tears. So we went ahead and got it set up, and then quickly our numbers started growing because now we had the room to bring in semi trucks. So that gave us the opportunity to have more fresh vegetables and more meats, and not just dry goods. And that was the goal, to get more healthy foods out into the community. And we were able to help more people. We weren't just restricted to Titusville or North. We could actually help all of Brevard. And then we had the government shut down, and our numbers jumped up, and they went down a little. And then, a few hurricanes here and there, our numbers jump up, and then they go back down. But our numbers never go back down to where we first started. They remain up. So then COVID hit, and before COVID, we were doing about 2,000 families every single week. And we were getting 2 semis every single week. But during COVID, we were getting 6 semis in a week. We were doing 2 to 3 distributions every single week because it's all fresh produce and fresh meats. We couldn't store all of that. And then our numbers went all the way up to 12,000 families a week. So needless to say, when everything opened back up and people were able to start going back to work, or, a few stimulus checks were able to help some families out and things like that, our numbers then went down to about 3,000, but they never went down to the 2,000 right before COVID. So, but by then our volunteers were burnt out. We were just burnt out. And that's when we started going to twice a month. So now we get 2 to 3 semis twice a month, and our numbers every single distribution are climbing. So we hover around 4,000 every distribution now.
So I really have no idea. How does this work? Does somebody, if somebody's in need, do they just come to you? Do they hear about you?
So a lot of us, a lot of the community that comes to us, it's just word of mouth. Someone told somebody that told somebody, you have to go to the bird. You have to go to the bird. So they end up coming to Hummingbird, and we try to and we've always made the system very easy. We have never in any of our years asked for ID. We never ask for any documentation. When you come, if you say you're in need, here you are. So we do have several Facebook pages, but the primary Facebook page for someone to know when we're going to distribute is Hummingbird Pantry Distribution Time Facebook page. On there, on the banner, it has a list of all the next dates that we're going to be distributing. And then on that day, we make a post to let you know what time. Now, a lot of people, they feel uncomfortable. They want to know you're going to start at 1 or you're going to start in 2. But if we're waiting for 2 to 3 semis, we're actually held hostage. We have to wait for all those semis to come in. We have to unload them. We have to weigh them. We have to process it. If we have 5 pallets of big cases of tomatoes, we have to break that down. So it takes us a little bit of time, but we're usually ready early afternoon, but then we'll post what time. Now, another challenge that we're up against is that our numbers are so high that we can no longer accommodate all of the vehicles at our location. It's simply impossible. So we partner with a lot of different churches. Parks and Recs has been awesome. And we use these areas as staging areas. So once we post that we're ready, you just get to the staging area. The volunteers will get you registered. The volunteers will check you in, and then they'll release you so many cars at a time to then come to us. So it's possible that it could be 300 cars at our location and 300 cars still sitting out at staging. It just depends on what time you hit it. But once you come through, you get loaded up. We try to remind people to clean out their cars, because a lot of times you go to pantries, you get 1 or 2 bags. They don't realize you're getting cases of stuff. We're handing over boxes and cases, and you really need the room. But what we're finding now with the housing problem and the cost of everything going up, a lot of people are living in their vehicles now. Yeah. So their belongings are in the car, but we make it work. Give it to the kids, hold on to it, put it under your feet, and you just have the food. Now, if you're riding the bus, a bicycle, or if you're a walker, once they make that post, you don't have to go to staging. Just come straight to us. And then you're allowed with a shopping cart to just go through the line and take what you can carry or use. So people bring those rolling suitcases, they bring strollers, they bring things like that so that they're able to get back home with the goods. So no one is denied, whatever your level or ability is. And we have a lot of homeless. They're not able to store bulk fresh products, but they want more of the dry goods in cans. So if you let us know, we can make accommodations for that. And, just say, okay, well, here you are, and not give you the fresh, because you have no way of storing or preserving that.
So tell me, because this sounds like a logistical nightmare.
To watch it all come together is amazing.
Tell me about your team. Your team's got to be amazing.
Oh, my goodness. Just saying it, I'm getting goosebumps or God bumps. It is... Over the years, I have to say that I have had a lot of volunteers come and go. A lot of volunteers that are available are older, so when their health starts to fail, they can't come. So I have seen waves of volunteers, but over the years, no matter if they came for a week or if they came for 2 years, or I appreciate every single last one of them, because if they weren't there at that time, at that moment, we could not get the food out. So when you go to the Hummingbird Pantry volunteer Facebook page, you see it's like 2,000 volunteers. But my core group is about 20. And if any one of those 20 say no, then it's a no-go, because it can't happen. And really on distribution days, on the actual day, we need about 85 volunteers to make it all happen, because it's a huge operation.
Oh yeah, it just sounds like that.
It's amazing.
They're getting out, meeting those semis as early as 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. And it seems, we call them the crazy ones, that are there at 5 in the morning are the same ones there at 12 and 1 o'clock the next day. Is because they're the core. They're the ones that hold it together. So I have my right hand gal, her name is Gunda Nolan, and she kind of helps me keep it together. So she's the one that she volunteers for different departments. And because I have to thank God, I have no problem turning things over and delegating things to other, because the pantry outgrew me. So without these volunteers, the head of maintenance, Robert, the head of this department, Clarence, the head of this, Preston, Tom, without these people, these key people, I couldn't be there handing out 3 or 4 semis of food, and it's only like me. It's just not going to happen.
Oh yeah.
So, and there's a volunteer or volunteers there every single day, either bringing in the bread orders, bringing in other donations, cleaning, stacking, organizing. It's a big building. It's a lot of food. We got to keep it organized, first in, last out, all these things. And we've just really, I feel blessed and fortunate to have the volunteer family. They really are family that we have now, and we support one another, and it has really grown into a family. If your car breaks down, call somebody, one of the guys like Bruce or somebody, or Robert, they'll go over there, fix your car, because we've really become a family.
If people want to get signed up as volunteers, what's the best way? Do they go to that Facebook page? Do they call you?
Please do not call.
I suspected you'd say that.
But if you go to Hummingbird Pantry Volunteers Facebook page, we make posts of all the dates for your calendar. And right now, dates are posted out all the way through the end of December. So you can mark it in your calendar.
And that's one of your biggest needs right now too, is it not? Volunteers
and financial contribution.
Okay. And so if someone wants to, there's somebody listening to this, and I'm sure everybody at some point has heard of the Hummingbird Pantry here on the Space Coast, at least at this point. But let's say they want to learn more about your organization, about where to sign up for all this stuff, where to give donations. What is y'all's website?
It is hummingbirdpantry.org.
Okay. And I noticed something in looking through your website over the past few weeks and looking at things. You guys have a 3-word statement you're using on a lot of things, and it always includes the word faith. So tell us, obviously faith has a huge piece and part in your life. Tell us about it.
Well, I always felt that Hummingbird was growing by faith. It was just faith. I mean, we had no money, we had no plan, it was just my girlfriend saying, well, what are you going to do about it? And in 30 days, we were handing out food. That was faith. It wasn't just me. I didn't have enough money to feed 45 families, 2 meals a day plus a big old holiday meal. So it was really every turn, and every time I sit and I start getting nervous and our numbers go up, like with COVID, God made a way. It was just, as long as I did the work and as long as I made myself available, it just got done. And the more food we give out, the more comes in. We have never ran out of food. Now, it's been times that we said, okay, we're closing at 9 o'clock at night, but we've been there since 5 o'clock in the morning. So when we have to close, we have to close, but we never said, oh, we're out of food, so we're turning away hundreds of people. That has never happened, and I'm just so grateful for that.
Who are some of your local, I know you guys have a lot of sponsors. Who are some of your largest local business sponsors that kind of help keep you guys going?
And over the years, and oh my goodness, I do not want to leave anybody out, so please, excuse my heart. But Lockheed Martin came and made 2 large donations to us when I didn't even know we were going to be able to keep the doors open. With 1 donation. And then they called another time and just said, we saw that you put the money to good use. And so here's more.
That's
wow.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But even Winn-Dixie, Publix, even the hotel, Quality Inn, it's just a variety. I don't think it's any industry that hasn't reached out. It might not be, I wish it was every single industry. That would be wonderful. Then we can go ahead and get our own building with enough land and, these huge walk-in freezers and refrigerators and, so, $3.5 billion, that's just a drop in a bucket,
Yeah.
So, but it's just so many people, even the people that come up and hand me $5.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. Even when I've had parents give their children change and the children come up and, Miss Gina, here you go. I really appreciate that because sometimes that was all they had.
It adds up too.
Right.
Yep.
Every little penny counts.
That is
Every
the
little
beautiful
penny
thing
counts.
that has always just blown me away about this community, being in social services myself, is the people. The
Right.
people in this town, they step up.
They do.
When we first started, we're part of a larger corporation that had been established for a long time in Melbourne. And everyone kept telling our executive director, you're crazy. You will never make that happen in Titusville. You'll never make it. You'll never get the support. But those people forgot to tell the people of Titusville that.
Right.
And
Right.
it's amazing. People here care. They care. Even
Yes.
if it's their last penny, they want to help.
Right. And it's needed. North Brevard gets slighted in so many ways. And we really need the help here. It's a food desert, really, up here. And if you go even further into Mims and into Scottsmore, there are no grocery stores up there.
Yeah.
It's literally a food desert. So having a great source of fresh produce and fresh meats is a blessing to so many people. It really is.
A food desert. I never thought about it, but you're exactly right. There's nothing up that way.
No.
Yeah. Wow. I never considered it.
Yeah.
You learn stuff every day. So if people want to volunteer, they go to your Facebook page.
Hummingbird Pantry volunteers.
And what kind of volunteers are you guys needing? Are you needing volunteers across every kind of, kind of everything?
Well, we have volunteers that have limitations, health concerns or anything, but they have their own social group table and they just fluff bags because we need the bags opened. And it takes too much time to open them and bag them. So they spend hours and they're socializing. It's beautiful for them to have something to get out to. And they fluff bags. We have other people that just track all the birthdays and just keep a birthday calendar and let us know, we need to celebrate one another. We have a cooking committee. So if a tragedy or even if something happens great in your family as a volunteer, we have a cooking committee that will prepare food and bring it out to you. We've given food to, we have made all the food for someone's repast, because they were a part of our family. And then we need men. We need someone strong. We have boxes. We have stuff that has to be, we need people that know how to drive forklifts and operate heavy equipment. We need people that know or are able to stand on their feet for a long time. I think the hottest is 112 degrees that we were outside. And then, we've been out there where it rained on us 7 distributions in a row. So you have to be willing to put up with the elements outside, because at the end of the day, we can't stop. The food has to get into the goal, get the food into people's cars.
Did I understand correctly that you guys actually married people a couple of times on distributions?
Yes.
Did I hear that correctly?
We had 2 couples that got
That's
married
amazing.
right under that huge oak tree.
Okay, yeah.
And we had friends that originally called. They live in Ocala, but the wife went to school here, Vicky and Dave Trezak, but the wife went to school here in Mims, and she graduated from Astronaut. So she always looks forward to coming here so she can see family and friends. So she said, well, Dave and I are coming, we'll perform, because we make signs and we do different things to try to elevate the people's mood. You're coming, you're burdened. Some people, it's their first time, they feel ashamed. So we try to, let them know we're not judging anyone. We want you to come. We need you to come to get the food. We are begging you to come and get the food. So they said, well, we'll come, we'll set up, and we'll sing as the people go by, So then Dave was like, well, I can marry people. So I'm just like, okay.
Why not?
So I put it out on Facebook, and people responded, and we married 2 couples, Raven and Bay. I don't remember the guys' names, but okay. So Raven and Bay, they contacted me, and they went down and got an emergency marriage license. And one of the girls even went to Ross, because COVID had just hit and the stores were just opening that week, and she ran in and found a $3 dress that looked amazing. And then we were able to get the cakes from Publix and things like that. And while the people were driving, sitting in line for 8 and 9 hours, they were witnessing the joy of someone else's life. We had people crying in the cars. We had, people clapping, applauding, because everyone was happy for someone else. And it gave them the opportunity to see beauty even in the midst of their struggle. So yeah, we marry people.
How cool is that?
That's great.
Okay, so whenever I talked to you a couple days ago, maybe it was yesterday. I think I might have gave you homework yesterday.
Okay.
I gave you some trivia questions.
All right. So
can you
you're
hit
all
us with
set?
one? Yeah, hit us with a trivia question.
Yeah. So
Do you have a subject?
Well,
or
we're
is
going
it
to
like
talk
a broad
about
range?
food. We're going to talk about food.
Okay.
All right, I like it.
we'll
Okay.
talk
I know a
about
little
food.
bit about it.
A little bit. So here in the United States, one of the richest countries in the world, what do you think the ratio of food insecurity is?
That's a great question.
1 in 3 families.
Here you are, really dead on. So nationally, it's 1 in 7. In Brevard County, it's teeters on 1 to 5, but no, I'm sorry. Nationally, it's about 1 in 7. In Florida, it teeters about 1 in 5, but here in Brevard is 1 in 4. So,
Wow.
And I'm sure when they start doing some more surveys with COVID, it will probably be 1 in 3.
Yes.
And for anybody that doesn't know, food insecurity and hunger are actually 2 different things. Someone can be so hungry that they will go into a garbage receptacle to get food out. But food insecurity is not knowing where your next meal is going to come from. So what we're trying to do is eliminate food insecurity at Hummingbird. So thank you. You were spot on with that for here in Brevard County.
Wow.
So another thing, a lot of kids are in college. They have those meal cards that they make us parents pay for.
Yep.
But how many, what is the ratio that you think, 1 in however many, do you think college kids might be suffering from food insecurity?
I imagine it's probably a little bit less, but not by much.
Yeah.
If one of the one
Talking
was
about
1 in 7.
college age kids or kids actually
Kids actually in college.
Okay.
1 in 6.
I'm going to say 1 in 8.
I don't know. It's been so long since I've been in college. I mean, when I was in college, I didn't have any money. I mean, and golly, ate a lot of ramen.
Right.
A lot of ramen.
which is very bad.
Oh yeah,
It
that
has
is
so
not
much
good.
sodium.
That is not
Yeah.
good for you at all.
Yeah. Well, actually, in Florida, it's 1 in 3. And that's
Wow.
very surprising.
Wow.
But we all know statistically, if you're not nourishing your body, you cannot learn.
Yeah.
If you're not nourishing your body, you can't focus, you can't concentrate, you make poor decisions that lead to other poor decisions, which then sets up a cycle of poverty. So yeah, but in Florida is 1 in 3 college students are actually suffering from food insecurity. So people are really surprised with that. So I know this should be fun. So kiwi fruit, the kiwi fruit.
Love kiwi.
Where was it originated at?
Bahamas.
Oh gosh.
Bahamas, maybe. I want to say it was.
New Zealand.
You think it was
Well,
New
it's good.
Zealand?
They call New Zealanders Kiwis.
Yeah.
Ooh, that makes
they
too much
do.
sense. Dagnabbit.
It does make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So that must mean it's wrong.
It must.
I'm saying.
I can tell it is.
I think it's the Caribbean somewhere.
Okay, well actually it was China.
What?
Yes. Yes. So it's really important, it's not important. It's just interesting to know where a lot of our food comes from, how it originated, how it got to us. And we're fortunate to have a lot of different fresh fruits. We fell in love with this one particular fruit. I can't even think of the name of it. I had to Google it to figure out, how do you prepare this? I don't even know how to prepare it. Thank God for Google. And you can make it like 4 or 5 different ways. It's like a potato, but it's juicy like an apple. But you peel it like a pear. It was just like amazing.
Is it dragon fruit?
No. And so it's a traditional, a lot of Mexican dishes. They use this in. So I get to the store and I'm like, oh, I want to buy that. I see it in the store. 1 fruit, $7. Are
No.
you kidding me? So I'm like, we are so blessed and fortunate to have such good quality come in. So when people hit us up and they're like, how do I cook this? I'm like, Google. Just ask them. You know, they'll let you know.
So kiwis, I think, are a bird.
Oh, that could be it too.
Yeah, because I'm sitting here going,
okay.
Man, kiwi. Like, who in the world would ever thought kiwi came from China? Any of you guys in there know that answer? Did any of you guys know that the kiwis came from China? Okay. Well, anyhow.
So staying on the line with fruit, where were fortune cookies invented?
Oh gosh.
Oh, that's easy. I know where that is. That's New Jersey.
I was gonna say New York.
Well, I'm a Jersey girl, but
See, I was hoping you were
we
thinking-
can't take credit for it,
Oh,
unfortunately.
okay. Oh,
Is it actually in the States?
It is in the States.
yeah. It's definitely an
And
American thing.
It was a northeastern thing?
I would imagine, but maybe not.
Well,
maybe
actually,
it's the
it
West
was
Coast.
San Francisco.
Okay,
Really?
West
Yeah.
Coast. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was very interesting. And I don't know, was that 5 or I don't know.
No, that sounds good. Yeah, that was. I feel like a much
feel
more
pretty
idiot than
good.
normal. That
Yeah.
was
Those
really,
were
really
good.
good.
I'm pretty dumb now. So.
Yeah.
No.
Me too.
So tell us again, if people want to learn where to volunteer, it's the
If you would like to volunteer, it is Hummingbird Pantry Volunteers
okay.
Facebook page.
And if people want to find out where your next distribution is or how to get involved with being part of the distribution,
That is Hummingbird Pantry Distribution Time
Okay.
Facebook page.
there you go.
And then monetary donations could be made through our website at hummingbirdpantry.com. We appreciate reoccurring monthly payments that are easily done through PayPal. Or you can make that one-time big check donation, which we would like it to be mailed to our P.O. Box, which is P.O. Box 1012, located in Mims, Florida. And as you mentioned, we're 501c3, so everything is tax exempt. We're coming up at the end of the year. All your end of the year tax donations that you can write off. It's a beautiful time. And this is our 10-year anniversary. So, it's just a beautiful time to donate.
Thank you so much for what you do for everybody in the local community. I'm sure you hear a lot of thank yous. Everybody definitely appreciates you. I hear people speak highly about you everywhere I go. So it's
thank you.
such a pleasure to me, and I know to all of us, to finally meet you and
Thank
learn
you.
more about you and your organization. And thank you so very much for being here.
And I look forward to you guys coming down and volunteering.
Yep, no doubt
I
about
like
it.
it.
No doubt about
Saleswoman.
it. That's awesome. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. Don't forget we have the EEARSS Eco Fest coming up November the 19th at SandPoint Park. All-day thing, free event. Come out, bring your families, enjoy it. It'll be a great time. Bill, Cindy, thank you so much for another great episode.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Appreciate you all, and we'll catch you all next week. Bye-bye.